And maybe what I'm going to exemplify next sounds familiar to you. You meet someone, there's chemistry, you meet up, and when you're together, there's no mistake, no flaw, everything is fine. You understand each other, you have fun, you have a good time, maybe you have intimacy, and that's great too. As I say, the chemistry doesn't fail. When you're together, it's a moment where you think we have potential as a couple. But nevertheless, when you're not with the person, you get the impression from the way they act that it seems like the moment they part from you, they don't think about you, they don't remember. Unlike you, who might spend the next few days constantly recalling moments from that date, thinking about what you'd like to happen with the person. And maybe you have more dates because the dates are good. But while you notice that you're getting involved, you might increasingly feel that the other person is not. Well, your intuition is not wrong, because intuition usually doesn't fail. Indeed, though, that impression you have, because you realize that maybe you're not constantly reaching out to the person, but you do it a little, so that it's not obvious, so that the person doesn't realize you're getting attached. You're playing a bit of the seduction game here, hiding your cards, which I don't see as a bad thing. But on the other hand, it doesn't seem like that person is doing this to hide anything, but rather they just turn around and focus on their own things. Well, that's what's happening. That while you're not with the person, you do think about them, right? And an indispensable requirement for falling in love with someone is that in their absence, we think about them. It's necessary. I mean, without that, it's impossible. Why? Because falling in love is essentially a process through which we idealize a person. That is, we imagine them as we would like them to be. And that idealization, that desire, is the person. I've never met anyone like that. It's as if they were made for me. No, they haven't been made for you. You're imagining them as you want, right? In that idealization, we temporarily coexist with those two images. Our mental image of that ideal we have and the real person we are getting to know. And little by little, the idealization loses ground and reality gains, until one day we are indeed with that person. But by then, we are already in love. The mission of that idealization has been accomplished. But of course, if a person has a great time with me, but then turns around and doesn't think about me, goes about their own business, remembers me only when they want to see me again, well, it becomes complicated for me. But don't worry, because today I'm going to reveal 5 ways, as I said, to make this person continue thinking about you the moment they part from you. First, stop being always available and don't be predictable. Do you know who is the most difficult person to fall in love with? The one who is happy in their life and has a busy life. But precisely because of what we saw before, which is well understood, if I am always doing things, taking care of my own, it is more complicated for me to start thinking about someone because I am paying attention to what I do. And if on top of that, what I do makes me happy, I don't have that need for escape. On the other side, there is a person who is unhappy in their life, who doesn't like it, maybe hates their job or their circumstances, or a very idle person is easy prey for anyone who gives them a minimum of attention, a bit of affection, of dedication, to quickly fall in love. Not because the other person tries to make them fall in love, but because of that need to mentally escape from where they are, right? Love is a source, I believe it is the main source of escape that we turn to, isn't it? A person in those circumstances will quickly start imagining a future, dreaming that this person comes to save them from their reality. So, be careful. Many times the solution to our love life, if it's not going well, as I always say, is to change the circumstances around us, to have a bit more control, to build a life that we like more. And we will be much more discerning when meeting people, and we won't fall in love with just anyone, right? We will pay more attention to what that person does to win our heart. But well, as I say, yes, humans in general do not value what is always available. And especially when I want the person to think of me, I have to allow intervals. But be careful. These intervals should be measured. I'm not saying you have to be absent for 3 days, right? It depends. It depends on your pace, right? I don't know how often you communicate. I don't know how often you meet. But the first thing is not to rush into establishing a pattern. As I said, don't be predictable. I constantly analyze conversations of people who start talking. They have daily conversations. They have daily conversations like people who seem to have been together for 10 years because they are already in a routine, right? The little good morning message, mid-morning, what's up? How's your day going? Yes, I don't know what. On top of that, they don't even get to know each other. There's no originality. It's like a check. I'm just checking that you're still doing well, right? Some joke, some off-color comment at the end of the day from him, but not much else. No, check, this, that. The good night one, that. The maximum variation is 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Oh my, more than a talk about. Romantic to get to know each other gracefully. It seems like the metro schedules, please no. Don't try anymore. I know we believe that this, by associating it with monotony, by believing that we are always in contact, it gives us a false sense of security. But nowadays, ghosting is, well, it's very common. These conversations often end with one of the two people thinking one day, how boring. Or they start talking to someone who is a bit more witty, and indeed they put the conversation aside, and that's it. So, because of that, don't set schedules. Don't be predictable. Forget about so much dull chatter. Really try to talk a bit more, even if this person doesn't know exactly what you're doing, which isn't bad, because that way they can imagine it, right? Well, try more. To get to know the person, tell them something more fun, right? I had this for breakfast, now I'm going to the gym. I worked out my butt, nobody cares, really, it doesn't add mystery. It doesn't help with idealization. And above all, don't always be available, because when you're not always available within acceptable time frames, automatically in the other person's mind, sometimes unconsciously, a slight doubt arises that something might be happening. The person wonders, is this person, could it be that they don't want to keep communicating? Could it be that they've lost interest? No, but I think they're attracted to me, right? So they doubt a little, right? And there, in the face of doubt, our brain seeks information. And what does it do to seek information? Well, it probably goes back to that last encounter, which we know was good because there's chemistry, because things flow, right? Then they'll remember, no, but I think they do like me or something, I don't know. They'll remember things from the encounter and start thinking. And that's what we want. We want them to think of us. Well, one of the simplest ways is by not falling into being predictable, and occasionally not always being there, not always responding immediately, not being, do more with your life. Moreover, doing more with your life is good because if you do this very controlled, like now I'm not going to respond. Until you respond, you're in a certain energy, and you also enter a dynamic where you try to control the situation. You're going to get very tense. I recommend that this comes out more organically for you. Get used to doing things like, well, I'm going for a walk, maybe I'll leave my phone at home or put it on silent. Or, really, if I'm at work, I'm going to focus on what I'm doing, instead of being concerned about whether this person has said something to me or not. You don't always have to be in communication. It's okay if you don't talk so much, if there's more space. That space benefits you. Second way to make them think of you. You need to learn the importance of connecting on an emotional level, of somehow leaving a kind of imprint within that person, because precisely that type of person who is used to being sociable, charismatic, who has a good date and laughs, ha ha ha, but then turns around and doesn't remember, tends to be the kind of person who deep down is longing to emotionally connect with someone because they have lost that habit. So, the way to connect with someone is to truly understand that instead of simply focusing on the importance of us laughing, when I'm with that person, on them seeing how handsome or beautiful I look, on the intimacy being excellent, all of which is very good, right? But rather, put more of your attention or effort, better said, into giving it a deeper meaning, right? If you're going to have a conversation, ask questions that lead the person to truly reveal a bit more about themselves. That is, delve a little more into the past. Don't be afraid to touch on slightly more delicate topics, family matters, Present a situation of your own as well. That is a little more, I don't know, more personal, right? So that this person opens up, and especially at the moment they truly do, let them talk, let them elaborate. When it comes to creating an emotional bond, how much we reveal about ourselves influences much more than how much the other person reveals. And this is a very common mistake. We meet someone and we are very concerned about the image they have. So we want to impress them. And sometimes, even before the date, we've had a speech at home about wanting to tell them this happened to me, and at work Pepito was flirting with me, and when I was on such a trip, I achieved such a feat and everyone was amazed by me. It's more important truly that this person opens up. As I say, we want to be something more. We want to dig a little deeper into them. Third, learn to use the mystery and the emotion of anticipation. This will also help a lot. It's something very simple to make them think of you. How do we do this? Well, don't be in a hurry to reveal yourself, and beyond that, sometimes leave things up in the air, right? It's like, yes, you're talking about a specific topic, I don't know, vacations or something, and you tell them about that summer you spent somewhere and you remember something. Yes, what happened? No, I'll tell you later. Leave it there, leave it a bit up in the air, there will be time. Let people sometimes remember they would come to tell me about this. And also this looking towards the future, right? For example, well, if things go well between us, I have planned to take you to a place that I think you're really going to like, you know? You're not guaranteeing that things are going to go well, right? Not even that. From your side, you are already sure that they will go well. But if they do go well, you think of a place that you know the person will like, but you don't tell them what place it is, right? Who doesn't like the excitement of something in the future, of awakening the hope in this person? Well, these little things, right? The fact that when they think of you, there are gaps they can't resolve. They can't because until you tell them they can't, but our mind doesn't like gaps. If it sees a gap, it's like it will start laboriously to, I have to fill it, right? And then it will start making hypotheses. Well, while it's making hypotheses, it's thinking about you. And when you say something like, if things go well, you're going to take them to a place you know they will like, right? It's like, wow, I know I'm going to like it. Then what do I like? And what could this person think based on what I've told them that I will like? What do? I review what I've told them. I review the time we've spent together. That's why these things work so well. Fourth, don't show them that they have you until they express their desire for it to be so. Sometimes we believe, especially the more we like someone, the more, of course, we have it. We want to offer them the utmost security. And sometimes we even rush, right? It's like, I don't want you to have doubts, Mo, about my level of commitment, about how much I like you, just in case. Those doubts lead you to eventually say no or distance yourself or want to meet other people. I want to be with you and I want it now, right? But I have to understand one thing. This often comes naturally to us through a mechanism that is the generation of sympathy. When I show someone my friendliness, it's more likely that this person will also find me likable. For example, if I'm told that someone likes me or thinks I'm great, I will start to like that person more. This is true. But the problem lies in the emotional aspect, where the moment the other person knows in advance that everything is guaranteed on my part, they stop making an effort. Let's say to win me over and simply start analyzing if we are good enough for them. It's like, okay, I've already done everything, but do I really want to be with that person? And they put us under scrutiny. And they start to find faults in us. Or they doubt, or they don't know if it's what they want. On the other hand, if the person is not sure to begin with, that uncertainty of not knowing if we want the same thing makes them think about us more. Everything I don't know, my mind has to figure out, it will keep pondering over it, and we want that. We want them to ponder, we want them to look for clues. Those clues that indicate yes, and those others that lead them to think maybe not. So, it's truly preferable that, obviously, they will be showing interest. But don't make it clear. Don't lay all your cards on the table by saying, right now, what I want is a relationship, or I don't want to meet anyone else at the moment. Don't rush, don't rush. Really allow that person to be the one who, at least you realize, is testing the waters. If you see that deep down this person is eager, and that's why they're testing the waters but find it difficult, you can help them. But usually, make sure it's the other person who expresses their desire to find out. How serious this is, the level of interest you have, let it not come from you to tell it. And fifth, try to offer this person experiences outside of what they know, but in every aspect. That is from the moment you talk to them. Introduce new topics into the conversation that this person might not be familiar with, providing them. In other words, there are few things we like more than someone who enriches our world. So don't be afraid to talk about different topics. Therefore, being a person who acquires knowledge and becomes cultured is never a bad thing. That is, if you now think about it and say, Amanda, I can't think of what to talk to them about. Well, give it some thought. And that's why we have the internet today that tells us about anything. And think about what would be interesting. Inform yourself a bit and propose it and talk about it. Offer them different dates. That is, if every time we meet, we go for lunch, dinner, have a drink, and then we have intimacy or not, it's the same old routine. Step out of the usual zone a bit, say, hey, maybe I've thought of something else. And without even consulting, plan something. We're going to a place where we can prepare our own dish. Or we're going to paint a picture with wine, or we're going to a ranch and go horseback riding, whatever it is, but something different. Because obviously for example, even if this person is meeting other people, because you don't have anything formal yet and they're dating other people, the idea is that if this month they've had 8 dates and 7 of them were going out for dinner and drinks, obviously if they've done something different with you because you dared to take the reins and say, look, I found this offer, it caught my attention, and I thought, why not? I'm sure we'll have a good time. So, which date will they remember more? Obviously the one where they did something different. So let's not underestimate this, because sometimes we tend to think, oh, these are just details. I'm telling you that these 5 things I've mentioned, do you apply them all? Come on. This person will find it difficult not to think about you when they're not with you, really. I mean, this is quite effective. So now you know, if you want this person to think about you, idealize you, and fall in love when you're not together, you should start putting it into practice. Well, I hope you liked this video and that it helps you. If that's the case and you're not yet subscribed to the channel, of course, I invite you to do so and hit the bell icon, because I would love for us to see each other again very soon. And until then, as always, I send you a big kiss.